But it became a mystery. What was this ship? Did someone randomly get shipwrecked on this place? When you think about the most remote place of the world, maybe you think it's somewhere in the middle of the Sahara, or maybe somewhere in the middle of the Taklamakan Desert, or maybe it's way up here, like in Svalbard, which is part of Norway. Well, the most remote place on Earth is a part of Norway, but it's way down here. This place we're looking for is called Bouvet Island, and it is really far down here. Let's zoom in a little bit to see what it's like. So when we're first looking in, you can see that it's covered in snow. And in fact, 93% of this island is covered by a year-long glacier. And only the very edges of the island have any non-glacier parts. The vast majority of the island's coast are sheer, steep, rocky cliffs with just countless waves makes it impossible to have any sort of landing on these shores. In fact, the only actual shoreline that you could reasonably boat up to is on this northwest coast. And this is where most people and most visitors have actually come to this exact spot. But let's zoom out a little bit and see how far this island is from other land masses. The closest landmass to Bouvet Island is Antarctica, which is 1,700 kilometers away. The closest island with any population is Tristan to Cunha, and this is over 2,000 kilometers away. The closest place with actually a lot of people is way up here in Cape Town, South Africa, and that's 2,500 kilometers away. And Cape Town is where most of the expeditions nowadays that are traveling to Bouvet Island come from. Let's go back into Bouvet and see what we can find. So this place wasn't even discovered until the 1730s when a guy sharing the name Bouvet sailed by this place. But he never made landfall and he didn't exactly know where he was, so people weren't able to find it for a long time after. A few people in the 1800s had come by this place, but Norway first claimed it in 1927. Now, the UK initially claimed it before that, but they actually gave this island up pretty easily to Norway, unlike a lot of other islands that they had. Anyways, one of the first explorations was to this northwest coast way up here in 1964 by a British ship. Now, what they found here was pretty interesting. So, they didn't have a lot of time because of how remote this place was and how the weather always changed. So, they had to get in and get out and do their scientific explorations quick. Well, the problem is, one of the guys in the exploration found this mysterious looking boat. And he only looked at it for a few minutes, got a few items from it, but no one else in the expedition really cared up to that point. They were all just trying to get off the place and get back to safety. But it became a mystery. What was this ship? Did someone randomly get shipwrecked on this place? Where did it come from? There were a lot of mysteries about the lifeboat, but what ended up happening was they found out that a Soviet expedition had come near the area around 10 years before that point in the 1950s, and this little boat had come off and washed along the shore. No one was in it, so no one was stranded on the island at that point. Because of how remote this place was, some countries took advantage of the opportunity and used it as a testing grounds. But in 1979, a satellite discovered that there was two flashes around this area, and no one really admitted to who it was. But today, most people consider that it was a test of some sort. I won't go any further into that, but you can read about it on Wikipedia and on other articles. Another thing that happened was Norway actually built a little base over here in 1996 out of shipping containers. Well, the problem was there was an earthquake on the island around 10 years later, and the shipping containers just got thrown into sea. So for a while, there was no base here. But then in 2012, a new research station was established here. And you can find a lot of videos from people coming to this area and doing their meteorological measurements and other scientific exploration on this island. Also, you would not want to get stranded on this place by yourself. First of all, it's thousands of kilometers away from anything else. Second of all, there's not really anything you're going to be able to use to help yourself survive here. There are penguins and seals, but there's no plant life besides a lot of moss and algae on the cliffs, and there's no trees to build a shelter. So your best bet would be to go to this area in the northwest corner and just wait for 2, 3 years before another expedition from Cape Town came down here and saved you. If you liked this video, you'll probably like this video in the bottom left corner. Anyways, Thanks for watching. Leave a comment down below.